Greetings, Batprince here, and today Ms. Bat and I are playing Weeping Willow. Why is that? Oh. The fireplace room in the house on the hill was shaded by pre-dawn twilight. Burning logs crackled in the hearth, breaking the silence in the muffled clatter of hooves came from the street. A female figure who was sitting motionless at the table gave a start, setting aside a coffee bowl. Hastily headed to the front door to let in a long-awaited guest who, judging by the sound of his footsteps, was already climbing. There was a knock at the door. My name is Batprince. Coming! There was a creak of the door bolt. An unpleasant screech of door hinges cut the thickened slice of the room. Finally, I've been waiting for you. Come in, Mr. Imperial Investigator. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay. Wonder what he does as a job.
Miss Von Wolf. It's most likely that we will have a communicate very often, so you can call me simply by name.
Well, Manfred, you... The girl hesitated, pressing her ginger ears in embarrassment. The investigator noticed and shook his head knowingly. Apparently it would be too unusual. You do it then.
Apparently it would be too unusual.
Yes, well...
You've welcomed a baroness quite recently, madame, and you'll have to get used to your new status. But if you feel more comfortable, you can call me by my last name. Will it be easier for you?
Investigate. Yes, Mr. Neyman, it will be easy. Never before have I been allowed to refer to purebloods like this. This is all new to me.
I understand.
Mr. Neyman, did you manage to find my husband?
Alas, I cannot please you with anything.
But how? How come?
Just started searching. This is not a quick deal, you know.
But it has been more than 3 days. The girl lost her temper and shouted, but she stopped at once instinctively.
If I were you, I would not be so worried.
How can you say that?
Believe my experience, the Baron will soon return to be safe and sound. I have already faced this case more than once. Newlyweds often quarrel, separate for a short time, let the steam off, and then come together again. Give it time, and it will work itself out.
Yes, we've had quarrels, like any newlyweds, but I know who my Otto... But I know my Otto. Who? He could not just disappear, you know. He could not! He could not! What are you planning to do next? I need to find my husband as soon as possible. He may be in trouble. Do you understand?
The Imperial Police are not authorized to catch cheating husbands by the scruff of their heads and forcibly drag them home, Miss Von Wolf.
Why are you talking to me like that?
My people checked out most of the taverns and inside the quarantine zone. No traces of the Baron have been found yet, but I assure you, he'll show up very soon.
My Otto is not like that. Yes, he left after our quarrel, but I am sure he has nobody else but me.
Well, that's great. Then you have no reason to worry.
Are you being so mean to me because of my background? What, like the lovely stags? What's that, a shield or a dartboard? Fire roaring in the... Not that type of black background.
Well, no, of course not.
Why aren't you looking for my husband?
Don't yell at me, Miss Von Wolf, otherwise I'll leave.
Oh.
I assure you, we're making every effort to find him. But do not forget that the Imperial Police are still engaged in maintaining quarantine in 4 of the 5 districts of Wendendorf. Our town is small, but the situation is not easy. With the plague, you know, you do not miss. I hope you understand that.
Well, I understand. So what are you going to do next?
My people will continue the search. The circle is gradually narrowing, as he couldn't have managed to leave this area. The guard's order is not to let anyone in or out, so that the plague would not get here.
The girl gasped and sat down on a chair. She made a couple of sips from her cup and covered her face with her palm.
Do you always drink that much?
Oh no, of course not. I did not sleep a wink this night. After my Otto went missing, I cannot find a place for myself. The tincture of valerian root helps me to somehow control.
I see. Sorry, but I'm not used to seeing a noble woman drinking alcohol. That's all.
Please stop, Mr. Nyman. Please do not pretend. I understand why you are asking. I myself hasn't fully realized everything, but my Otto, as being a pureblood, married me in accordance to your laws. Do you think that I didn't notice our neighbor's Leah when we arrived into Waldendorf and settled in this house? Purebloods are not used to seeing people like me beside them, unless we are lackeys or servants. Say nothing of the local rich. They do not even want to know their relatives from the lower classes. The whole area is fenced like a fortress.
That's right. That is why the plague from the neighborhood hasn't affected the local people yet. I won't lie to you, Mrs. Van Wolf. Everything you said is quite true. I do not like it when I am watching you now, but it is so because I am not used to it, not because I disapprove. I grew up in a small village west from here, and I see many things. The situation of your people is inevitable and humiliating. Personally, I'm not going to poke a finger at someone simply because their ears are not in the same place as mine.
Oh, that's what they mean by pure blood or not. She's half furry. I thought it was because she was a ginger.
In a way, I even sympathize with you. If any of my words seem rude to you, do not be offended. This is a professional habit, nothing more.
Thank you, Mr. Nyman.
Tell me, did you often quarrel with your husband?
Not more than usual. We got married just recently. The Imperial. Oh, Mr. Nyman.
Did you write someone about his disappearance?
Yes, I sent a message to his estate, Regenberg, but the pigeon came back almost an hour ago.
Did the message stay sealed?
Yes, it lies on the shelf in the wine cabinet. You can see it for yourself.
Could a bird get lost? Although very unlikely, it is not very far. Maybe it is worth trying once.
So you agree that he could leave the town?
I doubt it very much, although he is of course a wealthy man. Okay, I'll order to send the message from the neighbouring frontier post. He will personally make sure that the Baron von Wolf has not returned to his old residence.
Thanks. Thank you.
And his friends?
We have no mutual friends. My social circle was not suitable for Otto, and his circle, well, you understand.
What about his parents?
I do not know them. After all, we have been married for a little over 2 months. And Otto himself visited them very rarely. It even seemed to me that he was trying to avoid them.
Why?
He did not tell me about it, and I did not ask.
Does it ever occur to you where he could go?
If I only knew, I would have gone there myself at once.
But this is not at all necessary. My advice is to wait for him here, and by all means do not leave this estate. If you get any information, immediately notify me through my man, whom I am put in your house for protection.
Protection?
Advin.
The door creaked, and there appeared a stocky guard, clad in full battle gear. With a metal clanging, he came closer and straightened out.
From this moment, you are at the disposal of Mrs. Von Wolf. Yes, sir. You are responsible for her protection and safety of the entire state. Yes, sir.
It's not necessary, really.
Do not argue. These are dangerous times. Quarantine makes many people nervous, and irritated people often act ugly. Your safety has recently become my personal.
What are you talking about?
The burgomaster of Wenderdorf has taken the search for your husband under his personal control. As I mentioned earlier, the Baron was a very wealthy man.
The hamburger maker gonna do? He's the burgomaster. That's what it is.
I go, Devin. Yes, sir.
Hi, Hardbin.
And I ask you not to leave your estate. Your husband may return without warning at any time. If I know anything about an accident or murder, I'll personally inform you.
Murder?
It happens. I've seen a lot while in service. So not alone in this house? Are you not alone in this house?
Yes, I am alone in this house.
Good. The dawn is coming soon. I advise you to eat and take a rest.
I can barely eat. I cannot sleep. I cannot eat.
Don't be like that. The search went on all night and it will continue for some time more. There is no need to strain yourself like this.
But he is missing for more than 3 days. This is my fault. My fault. I should have reported his disappearance earlier. How silly I am. Silly.
Did everything right, Mrs. Von Wolf. Before I arrived here, I reported to the town board. No need to worry. Along with it, I also handed over your missing persons report. Now on, you'll be responsible for debts which the Baron could have done in his absence.
What debts? What are you talking about?
Anything can happen. You share common property. You should wait for the return of your husband right here and I'll take care of the rest.
But
I have many things to do, Baroness. Try to relax and recover your strength. My best regards.
the investigator bowed and hastily left the house, slamming the door behind him. I walked over to the window, watching the retreating guest. The girl sighed heavily and slowly walked to the stairs leading to the second floor. On her way, she took a bronze cup from a table with the remains of it. The dawn haze slowly closed behind her, plunging the house on the hill into silence, broken only by the crackling of the fire in the hearth. At dawn, front door creaked, and a female figure dressed in a monastic robe appeared on the doorstep. The uninvited guest looked around in search of the owners, but
Is there anybody here?
there was no answer. The woman walked deeper into the room and looked around.
Mrs. Von Wolf, are you here?
No response. The uninvited guest caught sight of the ceramic jug which stood nearby. Coming closer, she sniffed. Having caught spicy notes of a strong tincture, the woman broke into a wide smile, licking her parched. Who you are? What are you doing here?
Good heavens.
The uninvited guest shuddered with fear and dramatically clutched her heart. Turning to the stairs, she saw the owner of the estate looking at her quizzically from the steps.
You scared me, my daughter.
Who you are?
I apologize for the intrusion, my dear. You're Baroness Von Wolf, aren't you?
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. My name is Milani Elland. Sometime now, I'm the parish of Scarlet Rose Parish in. For me, it was responsibility of my sister Ashby until her old age forced her to retire. You must know her quite well.
I'm sorry, but I don't know her at all. I'm new to this town.
It's a pity that you arrived here at such a difficult time for Wendendorf.
How did you get here?
Oh, do not fear of me, my daughter. I was left by the Hardvin. He is a practitioner of the temple and very kind young man. Do not get angry with him. I dared to disturb you at such an alarming time, but the noble image of your missing husband is engraved in my heart, and I came to pay my respects personally. Baron Von Wolf was a true embodiment of kindness and generosity for our humble parish.
Batprince sobbed shortly, wiping a tear from her.
Blessed is the man who makes donations to the. Did you get married in the temple, my daughter?
Yes.
Oh, this is just wonderful.
I miss him so much. I'm so worried, sister. I hope that Otto will soon come back to my arms, my sweetheart. Batprince sobbed again, holding back her tears. It was love at first sight. As soon as we saw each other, we realized that we were destined to be together. Prioress smiled politely and nodded knowing.
This is wonderful, my daughter. Truly wonderful.
We got married in a small mountain chapel near Mittenwald. I remember that day. It was a Wednesday. We were alone in the temple, only me and my Otto, and 2 bearded vagabonds as witnesses. Oh, it was beautiful. I love bearded vagabond.
Do not cry, my daughter. I understand you perfectly.
Batprince nodded and stepped aside. She wiped her tears, came up to the table, and poured a little bit of tincture from the jug into the cup. Having caught the interested gaze of the prioress, the girl nodded politely, inviting her to sit down. Have a drink with me, Sister Ellen.
I wouldn't say, daughter.
Sure, here you are. With a courteous bow, the prioress took the goblet which was offered to her.
Here's to good health of the Baron von Wolf. I hope that very soon his will of the gods will help him return home safe.
I do hope that very soon my Otto will be here again. I don't even know what I would do without him. I just don't know.
Do you still love Mr. von Wolf, my daughter?
With all my heart. We were so happy together. After the wedding, we went on a small honeymoon trip to the Honey Valley. I never left my home village, you see. Otto opened the whole world for me. Then he got this estate as payment for some kind of debt deal, and without any hesitation, he decided to start a new life by moving here. At first, everything was just wonderful, and then something happened to him. He began to fight for nothing. We quarreled and reconciled. We reconciled and quarreled again. After another quarrel, he hastily collected some of his stuff and left home. This is my fault, Sister Ellen. He's so nice. I fear the worst.
My daughter, your grief is very sincere, and I sympathize with you with all my heart. Tell me, are you ready to accept the return of your husband without shouting and reproaching?
How can you? Of course! If he only would come back to me, I would forgive everything, anything, if he only would come back. The prioress smiled broadly, hastily finishing off the contents of her cup, put it on the table.
Then rejoice, my daughter. I have good news for you. Your faithful husband is bound.
What?
After the mass in the parish, I noticed a man currently praying at the altar. That was your husband, Baron von Wolf. Yes, sweetheart, it was him. Baron sincerely confessed and sincerely repented of his deed. He said that he loved you very much, but he was afraid to go back home, fearing that you would not be able to forgive.
It can't be.
It can, my daughter, it can.
Prioress went to the front door and opened it, courteously inviting the person standing behind her to enter. A handsome man walked through the door, throwing a small bundle with his things on the floor. He smiled apologetically and looked into the eyes of the frustrated girl. Oh, that's you.
Sweetheart, please forgive me.
Oh. Batprince sighed, tilted her head, and collapsed to the floor, losing consciousness.
My daughter, what's wrong with you? Batprince, breathe, breathe. Looks like she's coming around. Thank goodness. My angel, thank you for forgiving me. I do not know what came over me that day. I was really crazy. Still feels uneasy, Baron. Bring her some water, hurry. Water? Yes, yes, of course. My daughter, you still feel bad. Do you have perfumes in the house?
What? What's that for? Ah, Batprince moaned and nodded yes.
Where are they?
On top shelf, wine cabinet. The prioress nodded in response and hastily withdrew in indicated direction. Soon she returned with a small matte bottle in her hands. Sprinkling some perfume on her palms, Sister Ellen began to rub the odorous liquid into the skin on the girl's chest in order to bring her back to life. Batprince moaned quietly, without regaining consciousness. The prioress moistened her palms with perfume and began to rub them all over the cheeks of the stunned baroness. Oh!
Thank goodness you come to your senses. Rejoice, my daughter, your Otto is back.
This is not my husband! Dun dun dun!
Ah.
Isn't it like very interesting how she married someone called Von Wolf? Like she took the Von Wolf name, but he is.
Yeah, I know.
She's not the Von Wolf. She was married into. That seems very. Anyway, enough of that for now. I'll see you tomorrow.